MS-13, or Mara Salvatrucha, is one of the most notorious and violent gangs in the United States. But to understand its impact, we must first delve into its origins.
After dawn, leftist guerrillas who control much of the countryside here attacked a beer lorry out on the open road, a typical economic target designed to disrupt supplies. But a mile down the same road, rightists had attacked and horribly mutilated 3 men from the nearby town. People in passing buses simply stared and accepted it. And this is what the note left with the bodies reads: "Don't come back because we know about your actions, and what has happened to these people will happen to you." And it's signed EMN, which is an extreme right-wing paramilitary group. This kind of butchery, which is generally the activity of those on the right wing in this country, is the sort of thing which can be found on any roadside throughout El Salvador at this time. 6 hours later, a policeman lay dead in a pool of blood in the capital's main shopping precinct. But if these killings typify the day-to-day violence in El Salvador,
born out of the turmoil of the Salvadoran Civil War, MS-13 traces its roots back to the streets of Los Angeles, where refugees fleeing violence sought safety and community.
My brother and I came as unaccompanied minors from El Salvador. We were afraid to let go of each other because we didn't want to lose each other.
It's a long tradition in LA of street gangs, and these newcomers were being picked on by these gang members for being different, and sometimes being recruited into the gang.
For me, the gang was a way out of the culture clash that existed, everything around me. I was an angry young kid. We were into heavy metal music.
They listened to AC/DC and Black Sabbath and whatnot.
You know, the devil's horn as the hand sign of the MS-13, it's not an upside-down M. It came out of the heavy metal.
Throughout the years, MS-13 has left a trail of violence and destruction in its wake, terrorizing communities across the United States.
As you said, Houston police will have a news conference here tomorrow announcing a number of arrests of MS-13 gang members. Some of these guys' names linked to 7 murder investigations. These cases so sensitive, those who have been arrested are being separated while in jail.
Only a wreath and crime scene tape now mark what was a bloody murder scene. 4 men identified by Houston police as MS-13 gang members are in jail. According to court records, they took turns hacking the victim to death with a machete.
Machetes that's one of their weapons of choice, machetes and guns, and that's only if they want you to die quickly.
The complainant then met with the officer.
During a probable cause hearing August 23rd, it was revealed the victim, an MS-13 gang member himself, was cooperating with police. It was June 6 when he contacted HPD to tell them he was meeting with MS-13 gang members. Police provided him a recording device and watched him as he left his Southwest Houston apartment with the suspects. According to court records, at 10:13, the victim texted his location, 7600 Long Drive next to Cullinan Park, to an officer. There was no more communication. The next morning, they found his bloodied body in the park, inside his pocket, their recording device, and determined he died within 30 minutes of his text. Investigators believe the victim was murdered because the suspects thought he was working with a rival gang.
12 years.
Mark Stevens is a former HPD undercover officer with 30 years in law enforcement.
I think that what they did was lure him to his death.
Miguel Aguilar Ochoa and Marlon Miranda appeared in court together. The state also revealed how dangerous they are.
I have faith. I pray every day, all day, that they catch these individuals that has done this to our kids.
Prayers answered for a grief-stricken mother. Sources say MS-13 gang members were rounded up this morning charged in 3 murders. 16-year-old Kayla Cuevas and her 15-year-old best friend Nisa Mickens brutally beaten to death. Killings that touched off outrage and fear in their Brentwood community.
This is a vicious attack. These injuries were significant. Whoever did this is depraved.
It was one stunning murder after the next. A September in Brentwood when 6 teenagers turned up dead.
Playing ball, going to the park. That's what kids should be doing, having fun, not worrying about who's behind them, who's watching, not having a memory that they had to bury their friend.
Now, 6 months later, the arrests of 4 accused killers after a massive police response. Suffolk police working with the FBI intent on dismantling an increasingly violent street gang. Today, federal and county officials will announce the arrest of 4 gang members for the murders of Mickens, Cuevas, and a 3rd teenager. Police say their efforts since September have netted 125 gang arrests connected to 7 murders. Upon hearing the news, Kayla Cuevas' mother told us she was relieved but tearful. Suffolk police say this is a high point in their gang enforcement, but it's far from over. In Melville, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS 2 News.
Now to more breaking news. Prince George's County Police have arrested 5 gang members for the murder of a Fairfax County teenagers. Investigators say 16-year-old Jackson Chicas of Falls Church was killed during an MS-13 gang meeting that happened March 8th at a home in Landover Hills. Police say Chicas was stabbed several times. His body was then set on fire, they say, dumped in a remote grassy area of Stafford County. Police say Chicas was also a gang member. They're still investigating a motive for that killing.
These are just a few examples of the senseless violence perpetrated by MS-13 across the United States. But despite law enforcement efforts to dismantle the gang, its influence continues to spread, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. MS-13's legacy is one of fear and destruction, a reminder of the ongoing battle against organized crime in America.